When the time comes to strike, the Paragon warsuit wades into the enemy lines. A warsuit as weighty as any tank, there is nothing it cannot calm with the blessed Paragon warblade. Yet such a mighty weapon may be wasted in the hordes of the unworthy. The Paragon grenade launcher is the answer, enabling the Paragon to lay waste to such hordes with ease.
Well,
Yeah.
I really like the work that Black Hat Games has put into these models. They really look amazing. There are some amazing screenshots that you can find on the store page. They really did a great job. I think, well, I'm a bit biased, but I think they're the best. I think they're the best models ever made for a video game, to be honest. But yeah, shall we move on to the second trailer?
Yep.
A sister's duty is foremost to the emperor, but also to his subjects. No sister understands this better than the hospital. Her presence is a welcome sight as she tends to the sick and injured, returning them to battle to continue to fight in his name. The Adapter Sororitas is an order of mercy, and those that sin may atone for their crimes as an arco-flagellant, armed with arco-flails, and with a potent mixture of combat stimulants flowing through their veins. They tear the enemies of the Imperium asunder in an incomprehensible, violent melee frenzy. Should a sister commit a sin, she may be offered the chance to take the oath of repentia, her war gear, rank, and honor stripped from her. She may seek atonement only through the deaths of his enemies. Each granted a penitent eviscerator, they made devastate, fiercely charged in enemy. Not all those who sin are worth forgiven. For those whom justice must be given swiftly, the pure flame of an immolate will more than suffice. Its blessed twin flames cleanse the battle, while protecting a squad of sisters inside its thick, ornately armored hull.
Well,
Yep.
so
Yep.
personally speaking, I really like the new vehicles. Most of all, I was wondering what is your favorite one?
It's a choice, really. The Exorcist missile launcher is just a whole new realm of birds. But personally, the Canoness, she is a she gets in there, mixes it up, brings everybody with her, and importantly, if she gets sniped, everyone else gets better because they get quite angry about it. So what more could you want?
Right, so this is the new DLC, but there is an update along the DLC, and it adds, of course, the monitoring portion. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so later on today, in a couple of hours' time, the release will go out. Kind of a free update. You'll be able to play a whole new game mode with any of your factions that you own, so either Blood Angels, Druids, Condor System Battle, where you can choose to take on innumerable hordes of the Demons of Khorne. It's a survival wave-based game mode. So you're basically going in there with whatever army you choose. You get a small army, a small kill team, or you can take a 3,000 point horde of tanks. It's up to you. The simple job is to survive. How long can you last against innumerable waves of Khornite demons? If you've got bloodletters, and you've seen whole new things we've added to things like skull cannons and all this kind of thing, all coming at you from every direction. And you'll get reinforcements, but will they be enough?
Well, I'm seeing something new on the screen, because that wasn't in the game.
No, you've obviously picked the skull cannon beforehand and the bloodletters at the beginning, but right in the background there is our wonderful bloodthirster.
Yes.
Who doesn't turn up straight at the beginning, but when he does turn up, you're in for a world of pain.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. All right, so we can't wait to see what you guys think about this new update, as well as the Sisters of Battle DLC in Battle Sector. Shall we move on and talk about Gladius?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
Yeah.
so Gladius is also getting a new DLC, and they're also getting the Adepta Sororitas as a playable faction. For anyone who is familiar with Gladius, each faction comes with their own unique units, tech tree, set of buildings, unique quest lines and heroes, and of course, unique gameplay mechanics.
Yep.
But what can you tell us about the Sisters of Battle, and what kind of new features do they bring to the table? Because Gladius has been around for a few years, and there are already quite a few playable factions. So how are the systems of battle, Adeptus Sororitas, different compared to the other playable factions?
Well, I said they are the Sisters of Battle. They are built around faith. They are, but to say Gladius is a 4x, and their mechanics are kind of on that 4x scale. Of each unit can perform small acts of faith, which then, if buffed with the kind of support units, can perform bigger acts of faith. They have a wonderful quest line about obviously suppressing heresy. Gladius is very much their sort of town. It's what they were very much brought here to do. And of course, when they start rolling out tanks and also knight lancers and strike fighters, they really can bring the whole world about.
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to playing them. So before we finish the presentation for Battlesector and Gladius, we wanted to show you the new faction, the new intro video for the Adeptus Sororitas in Gladius. So here we go.
Life is worthless without faith. Faith in the God Emperor. Faith that he will save mankind. The Adeptus Sororitas are the guardians of that faith. These people were our people. And when the world was lost, when the cities fell, we defended them from the Xenos, the heretics. But soon we stood against the dark, alone. Others would have lost hope, but not the Adeptus Sororitas. And finally, our faith was rewarded with the blessed Celestine at our head. We will save these people for the God Emperor!
So these are the systems of battle in Battlesector and Gladius.
Yep.
All right, so thank you so much, David, and I hope it was a really nice time for you.
Yeah, obviously, everyone, if they're available later today, we hope people enjoy playing them.
Thank you so much. All right, so shall we move on and talk about Starship Troopers? We released the game roughly 6 months ago. I believe it was June 16. It's been a really successful release for Slitherine. To be honest, it's been the best, the best release that Slitherine ever had. It was such a pleasure and honor for us to really pay our respects to a wonderful franchise such as Starship Troopers. So I have a special guest with me here today. Is Lucas Neisten, creative director of the Artistocrats, developers of Starship Troopers Return to Land. Hello, Lucas.
Hello, Alberto. Thanks for
Welcome.
inviting me.
All right, so my first question for you, how do you feel about the release of Starship Trooper and the path so far?
Well, obviously we're very happy about the reception of the game. So the success of the game has allowed us to grow our team, and it will allow us to keep supporting and expanding the game, which is something we have a lot of ambitions to keep doing that. And realizing that there is a community that will support us in doing this is obviously a very good feeling.
Nice. All right, so back in September, a couple of months after the release, we published a roadmap which listed what we were planning to add in Starship Troopers during the first year of development. It's been a successful ride so far. Back in October, we released the first milestone of this roadmap, which was called the Chemical Reaction Update. What can you tell us about it? What were your goals for adding these new scenarios and this new unit?
Yeah, so we decided to release this update primarily because we wanted to show to the community that we wanted to keep supporting the game. So it was a means for us to release content for free that added to the game. And we ended up releasing 3 scenarios basically, and they're all based around a new unit type, which is called the Chemical Troopers. And it Another reason for doing this was because we wanted to do some experimental features basically in the game, and we used this as a means to see what the response from the community was. So, for example, all the chemical scenarios have a local high score system, which means that you can replay the scenarios and beat your own score basically. And in addition, we have one scenario that is really experimental. So we have, you can gather resource there by killing arachnids, and you can then use that resource to buy new units or unlock more areas on the map or get more war supports. And it's been very interesting to get feedback from players on mechanics like these, because we're always looking for player feedback and how to basically do more with the game.
That sounds great. What I really like to see, was community members sharing their own high scores on Discord and not on the forum and on Steam. And it was really good to see them competing and comparing their own high scores. So that's the type of community content that can really help foster a thriving community, which is very important, I think, for an RTS.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of community content, there was another big milestone in the roadmap. I'm talking, of course, of the scenario editor. That's been in open beta for a while, well, a couple of months, right? Yeah.
Correct.
How has the feedback been so far, and what do you think of the scenarios that people are making?
Yeah, so we are very happy with what's happening with the scenario editor. There is a lot of people who are creating very cool scenarios. So this ranges from really story-based scenarios, which like you take a squad of troopers to an area and they're storytelling. People even added their own voiceovers. And other scenarios are like really the classic defend the outposts, inspired by the famous movie scene of Whiskey Outpost, where you have to defend your base against lots of Antos horde, basically, of arachnids. And the quality of the scenarios has been really high. We're very happy about that, to see basically how enthusiastic people are about being able to use the editor. So it's now an open beta, which means that everyone can use it. If you jump to the beta branch on Steam, and we actually allow everyone to play the scenarios in the live version of the game already.
Last week, if I remember correctly, or 2 weeks ago, Lucas ran a very successful stream on our channel where he showed the basics of crafting on custom scenario. If you join our Discord channel, there are quite a few player-made scenarios that some are really good. So if you want to play them, you can just join the Discord channel and download it from there, as well as find the set of instructions on how to install them. But my question for you is, well, there is a specific feature that is highly requested from the community, which will make accessing scenarios easier for players. I'm talking, of course, of the Steam Workshop support. So, is it coming?
Yes, absolutely. So currently the way to get scenarios is you have to go to the Discord channel, which there is actually a button for in the game. So if you go to the scenarios panel, there will be a direct link to the Discord channel. But obviously that means that's not very useful to, or not very user-friendly basically, because you have to download the files and know where to put them. So Steam Workshop support is something we definitely want to add, considering the success of the scenario editor, and something that will make it a lot easier for players to join us, to get this content, to download it, and also to upload it. So that is something we do want to put into the game before we actually put the editor into the live version.
Sounds great. Actually, there is another highly requested feature. I'm talking, of course, achievements.
Yeah.
So my next question, of course, is, are achievements coming?
Yes, absolutely. So achievements is also something we're currently working on. Basically what we'll do with achievements is every campaign scenario will have a set of achievements. So it's still not entirely certain how many achievements each scenario will have, but it will be probably 2 or 3. And basically there will be a couple of achievements that are reasonably straightforward to achieve. So by just basically playing the game, you'll be able to unlock these, but we'll also have a number of more tricky achievements that you can only get by playing with certain units or using special abilities in a certain way. So we're offering like a range of challenges for these achievements, and that is coming in Q1 probably next year, early next year.
Sounds great. Before we move on, I wanted to mention that we are updating the roadmap at the end of this presentation, so we will be showing the new roadmap near the end. There's also another small asset that I'm going to announce today. Not even my coworkers at marketing know about this. Marco doesn't know about it. I'm talking, of course, of Steam trading cards. So yeah, Steam trading cards are coming for Starship Troopers. Surprise! All right, so you know, let's address the big elephant in the room. You know, Steam Workshop support, achievements, they're all fun, but what people really want to know about is new content, new DLCs, a new campaign, maybe a new planet, new units. I know that maybe you don't want to say all of it yet. We have big plans, but I'm just wondering, what can you tell us about this? What do you feel comfortable with sharing?
Yeah, so besides what we've already talked about, one of the things that's currently a big focus in our development is working on a new environment. So we'll have a new environment that is taking place on a new planet, and it will have a new campaign, new units, etc. But before I say anything else about it, maybe we should watch a little teaser that we've created for this.
Okay, let's watch this video. Wow, new lava planet coming for Starship Troopers Town Command. I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, this small teaser didn't show any new unit yet, but they're being prototyped. You just have to wait a bit longer, just in order to get an official announcement and a full reveal of what this new planet entails.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about this lava planet?
Yeah, so as I already said, it will be a new planet. It will have a new campaign, so a new storyline with characters and all that. And in addition, it will have a lot of new player units and a lot of new arachnid units that are fitting the theme. So we cannot reveal any real details about it yet because we're still very much prototyping this content. But over the course of next year, we'll be sharing a lot more information about this. But we can say that we chose the lava planet because it's an interesting environment. It will not just be visually unique, but also it offers some new environmental features. For example, there will be volcanoes that erupt and can damage your units or the box. Basically, if you use it well. There are also like these lava geysers which will erupt lava at unpredictable times. Well, you can actually see it coming, so it's something you have to avoid as a player. But at the same time, you can use it in your own advantage by building a defense line beyond the lava geysers and like luring the box into them and using the environment basically as a weapon against the enemy.
That sounds great. Terran Command is the type of game in which normally a lot of your guys die. Like
it happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So I'm just really looking forward to in what kind of different ways your guys can die in this new environment because it sounds really creative. All right, so just wanted to mention this lava planet is part of a new DLC that we haven't announced yet, but it's going to be released in 2023. So Lava Planet DLC, stay tuned for the official announcement later next year. Anyway, there was a specific asset in the roadmap that people are really looking forward to. Back in September, we announced a new game mode which will enhance replayability. So, my question for you, Lucas, is what do you feel like sharing with us today about this new game mode? How is work going? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so the new game mode is something, well, game modes in general, more game modes is something that players have really been asking for. And we completely agree with them that there's a lot of content in the game and we want to make sure that they can have more game modes basically than the campaign to use that content in. So while I can't be overly specific about exactly what we're doing, again, because we're prototyping a lot of stuff and we don't want to announce something before we feel more certain about what we're doing. But we do have a couple of specific goals in mind for this new modes. For example, one of the primary things is to give more control to the player to decide what kind of units that they have and what units they produce, and to progress basically through the tech tree to counter what the arachnids are doing. And another aspect that is tied into that is offering more replayability. So it should be a mode that's really focused on replayability. And for example, by giving more control to the player, of course, you also allow them to decide on their own how to beat challenges and try new tactics and new ways to beat all the stuff the bugs are throwing at you, basically. And finally, the third point I would highlight is that we want to make sure that this game mode is very expandable, so that we can add new unit types, new abilities, etc. For example, the new lava planet will be something that we can integrate into the new game modes, so that it is very expandable.
Sounds great. Well, I know that a lot of fans are asking about it. They're really curious to hear more about this game mode. I can only invite you to stay tuned if you want to learn more, just to Forge.net. So you can just join our Discord channel, or just keep checking the Steam page or your store of choice. Just stay tuned, and we will be saying more about it pretty soon. Before we wrap this presentation, I just wanted to ask you, are there other news for Special Troopers 10 Command that you want to share with us today?
Well, of course, besides all the stuff we announced today, we're always working on the game, always working to improve the game, like small features, small updates. Usually that is based on what we see on the feedback from players, basically what they're asking for. So one example of what we are currently adding to the game, or basically we finished it, but we need to test it properly and then release it, is we're expanding the unit controls, the unit control groups. Sorry. For example, now you can only, in the current version, you can only assign a unit to one control group, but with the update you'll be able to assign it to as many groups as you want, which is a feature that is very common in all the modern RTS games, and of course we want to make sure that it's also available in our games, and it's one of those features players have been asking for, so we're always looking for ways to improve the game.
I'm pretty sure that fans will be happy to hear about it. So I'm wondering if we can show the new updated roadmap, so we can share with you guys. We will be posting it on Steam and our site pretty soon. Right, so this is the roadmap for basically the first half of 2023, roughly. There are no dates yet, but we can say with confidence that the scenario editor is going to be released alongside Steam support in Q1, around probably January or February, right?
That is correct, yes.
Then of course we'll have extended control groups, as Lucas just said. Achievements are coming, and then we are going into more meaty territory. We have the Lava Planet DLC and the new game mode coming after, well, we don't know yet, but in 2023 for sure. So yeah, that's the roadmap, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. We're really curious. As usual, your feedback is super important for us, so just feel free to contribute and let us know what you think. Alright, so we'll be back very soon, and I'm just going to pass the microphone to the tea room.
And we're back here with Julia.
Yeah, hello everybody.
One thing, Julia, I have to say is that it's great that after all these events that we managed to have we started, everything was remote, then we had first maybe a bit remote, a bit of people in here, and now we have upstairs in this office we have I think 4 developers coming to show their games, so I think this is a great achievement for us.
Yes, it's wonderful.
It's really good. So there are 2 games that you will not see today, and I want to give a little bit of a peek on both of them, because of course you know that we care about updating you about a number of things. So the first game we're going to talk about is Terminator. You all know that we have a Terminator game in development, Terminator Dark Fate Defiance. It's a game we really care about, and you know that after all the years that you've been waiting for on the Starship Troopers game, we have delivered a very solid Starship Trooper experience. So Terminator is alive and kicking. The development is going on, but we are really pushing the boundaries of making it a great game, a great tactical experience, a game that would fit the new wave of RTSs coming out in the coming months. So we want to be up there with the best games and deliver a game to you that's absolutely awesome. So just stick with us and stick with the social media channels, and we'll make sure that you know more about it. The main thing I want to say today is that the game is going to enter beta very, very, very soon. So stick with us about that. It's good news, is it?
Yeah, wonderful news. Yeah.
It's like, how do you turn a negative news is, the game's been delayed, into a good news? Well, you're going to have a beta very soon.
Yes, and we keep our promises.
Sometimes. Right, so before I'm going to leave my position here, I'm going to welcome someone else, a new colleague of ours.
Yes, a very new colleague.
And I'm going to back here in a few moments.
And we are here with our friend, colleague.
Hi, Julia.
Francesco.
Hi, Julia. How, Julia? Such a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to this stage. It's your first time here. Are you excited?
Oh, very, very much. Very, very much.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep tonight.
I know that. And I'm really happy to have a new face next to me. It's great. It's really great.
It's great for me too.
And you're also the owner of a great part of Slitherine, that are the tournaments.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly.
You want to say something to our followers and community?
Of course. First of all, I would like to thank to all the participants we had this year, and congratulate once again to all the winners. It was an amazing year, quite busy, lots of tournaments. So thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you, guys. You were great.
Thank you. So but it's not over, because 2023 is going to be bigger.
Yeah. So do you have any plan to spoil to us?
Of course, our plan is to have more tournaments during the year, more frequency on lots of tournaments on different video games. And bringing some new kind of mode. Like so far, we got all the same system for all the tournaments, and we would like, and we are testing maybe in the first part of the year, we'll probably bring the knockout elimination format to our tournaments. That could be a good news for some players.
Yeah.
We are keeping the old format too, so just to have a little bit of differentiation for everyone.
Wow, that's great. Really, really exciting. And we also have some new games that will have tournaments, right?
Of course. As we are releasing new games, as you probably will see later on during the streaming, we have a few news and few new games that will join our tournament program.
Yeah, in 2023. So 2023 will be a great year for games, for tournaments, and there are open tournaments now that our user can join?
For the Battle Sector lovers, we still have the Holiday Madness tournament that is still open, starting on the 15th of December. So you still have a couple of days left to join the tournament and play over Christmas and the holidays to have fun.
Wow, that's maybe the perfect way to spend Christmas holidays.
I think so.
I think that's great. Thank you, Fra. And also other news about Battle Sector.
Yeah, we got a pretty big one. That starting from today, we are opening up a new sign-ups for our very first prize tournament of Battle Sector.
Wow.
I'm really proud and really excited about this because it's gonna be super big, and of course we opening up the sign-ups today. Then the tournament will start on the 1st of February, and it's going to be all themed of the Sister of Battle that is releasing today. So it's gonna be our first prize tournament and our first theme tournament. Then after Sister of Battle, we will have more theme tournament about every faction. And as a prize tournament, Julia, I brought a little surprise. So one of the prizes, the other we will release is probably next month, is
wow,
comic book.
Wow,
Comic book of themed Sister of Battle. This is gonna be one of the Okay, what is it? Yeah. This is gonna be one of the prizes of the Sister of Battle tournaments.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I can leave it to you as a Christmas gift.
Oh, thank you.
And
You're so
I'm really
cute.
excited about this. And so if all the players want, they can sign up for both the holiday tournament and the Sister of
Wow.
Battle one.
Guys, I suggest you to join this tournament because this comic book is something amazing. I think that I will start reading it today and probably will finish it tomorrow.
Amazing.
That's
that
probably what will happen.
was, I wanted to hear. Yes, amazing.
Yes, that's great. And Fra, are you happy being here? You joined us almost.
I'm super excited. It's been like almost 6 months so far.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Everything is amazing. I love it. I'm not saying because Marco is watching me.
No, you're not.
but
Because
it's-
Marco is not there.
He's not there. He's not watching at all. No. It's been like amazing 6 months. The tournaments are something that it's really exciting, adrenalinic, and we want to get bigger in 2023.
Yes.
And everything so far
And also
so good.
for you, we have also added a tournament section to the newsletter.
Oh yeah, just for me. That
Yes,
was
yeah,
that
that
was
was
my
just for you.
Christmas gift
Yes, yes,
from you.
yes, Christmas and also birthday gift because can we say that to our community?
I think we can say it.
Francesco was born on Christmas Day. He is our Christmas gift in our company.
Too kind, Julie.
Okay, that's great. And I also know that you will speak about some games also with Marco in a few minutes.
Yeah, in a few Marco will join me. Yeah, because I got not only the tournament
Yes.
but also a couple of games that we are going to talk in a moment.
Yeah.
And I think that we are ready to
Yeah,
see
we are ready.
our first
We
content.
can switch. Okay, I'll
So
go away.
yeah, Marco, please join me. Hi, Marco.
See, I don't think this was prepared to be like this. But,
No,
we're
that's
fine.
it's
we're fine.
live, and this is how it is.
I heard that you're doing very well. That you like working here.
Amazing. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes,
great,
Marco.
it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Because I wasn't there, right?
No.
Somebody
Marco was
told me.
upstairs.
Yeah.
Marco was upstairs. You didn't hear a thing.
No,
and
no. Right. So Francesco,
So-
what do you have? Francesco is working on 2 main projects right now, right?
yeah, exactly.
One of them is Distant Worlds, and the other one is the other game that we're not showing today.
We're not showing to you, of course.
So what
Hi.
can you tell us about Distant Worlds?
Okay, so for Distant Worlds, we are working very hard to bring new updates for the game, to fix a few things that happening in the game, and I think that we are going in the right direction. I want to say that 2023 is going to be quite big. I think that if we manage to do it, we can start with a big one on January, February. Let's see. And I really hope that the direction that we are taking is the right one, of course.
We have a little video to show.
Yeah, we got a little video.
Let's start with the video and then come back here.
Welcome, explorers. When we first met, we introduced you to the new galaxy we had created for you. An immersive environment to let you test your skills and make you feel at home in space. As with all things, we know that there is a long way to perfection, and we have been working every day to make the journey to the stars easier and smoother for you all. Since the beginning of this journey on our shared exploration ship, we have made significant progress. The crew has increased, and you now have more forces at your disposal. The stability of our ship is much better, and we've expanded graphical compatibility and also improved the performance across the board. We've improved the flight controls by making the artificial intelligence more intelligent and polished some of the quirks in the user interface. We've also made it easier for you to manage your people by making sure your colony ships and passenger ships find their best possible destinations. Finally, there are also major fixes and upgrades to better support you in several other important areas, including exploration, research, diplomacy, and space combat with your fleets, ships, and fighters. Be advised, the galaxy will continue to expand and host new races and factions. It will be your choice whether to become their ally or to fight them. Space is in constant flux. Prepare for new encounters as we are busy at work making Distant Worlds a bigger, better experience for all of you.
Now, one thing about Distant Worlds is that I won't hide from it. We definitely sort of missed the launch in a number of ways. This was a game that we had, prepared for, I think, 7-8 years. The developers at Codeforce were, ready for a number of things to happen the first year after release, and then the game ended up having some problems that we had to go back and fix. And instead of just fixing the problems, Codeforce hired new people, invested in not only fixing the things, but actually refurbishing the code and making sure that we could build on it over time. So it's taken quite a long time. I can see that the reviews are going up again.
Yeah. People, the community is answering quite well I think they're seeing that we are working, and I'm really glad that they're still there. They want from us more, and we are definitely want to give more to the community.
We had, I think that at some point we had like a patch delivered every week, which was the joy of our operations team. They really liked it, and I think it's still the case in some weeks that we have like a very frequent release of different updates. But it's getting there, and I think that the Q1 next year is going to be huge.
We are on the right path. I think that we still need some work, of course, because as the video said, the way to perfection is a long journey, and definitely it's going to be our final destination. We want the perfection for our community, and we are working really hard to deliver and to give the better experience for everyone.
So I'd say that the galaxy is still alive, right?
Yeah. He's always there. He's always there, right next to you. And in 2023 is going to be even more beautiful. And we will add few things. And I think that I really want to give more details about it, but we want to do it, and we don't want to put any kind of rush on us. So I think that for the big news, we have to wait after the holiday.
Yeah, well, Lucas was saying one thing before, that he didn't want to commit to anything until he was like 100% sure that he could deliver it, which is coming from another story of history of being delayed and a number of other things. But I think it's very sensible, and we're going to sort of follow the same path for Disney World. So we're going to tell you more about it as we're more confident about the stuff to come, and meaning that we know a lot of things are in the works, but before we can announce them and tell a release date, we're gonna wait a little bit.
To quality check first, probably.
Yeah. So Francesco, elephant in the room.
I
your
think
second.
we have to talk about it. It's not easy, but I mean we have to.
I think there's again, turn a negative message into a positive.
Okay,
Stargate Timekeepers is the other game that you will not see today. Stargate is in development in our new development studio brand new, just opening in Poland, Slitherine Poland. We're very original for naming studios. Slitherine Poland is taking Stargate Timekeepers and another game called Ancient Arenas Chariots that you will see today later on, and they're working on it. Again, this is a game that will release next year, and we're 100% sure that it's going to be a great experience. But again, we want this game to be really good.
It's a huge franchise. I mean, Stargate is a masterpiece from the 90s, so we definitely don't want to ruin the legacy of it, and we would like to deliver to the community what's the best, a quality product. And so we are working. Slitherine Poland is going quite well. I mean, for something just born, we are working really hard on both Stargate and Ancient Arena that we talk about later. And so I think that definitely is going to be 2023. And I'm really looking forward to share. Yeah, I'm committing. I'm committing. Yeah, I mean, you forced me to commit it when I signed. No, but jokes aside, I think that I'm really looking forward to show the first beasts and the first graphics and the first artworks in the months to come. Definitely.
I'm really excited about Stargate Timekeepers, and again, taking from the same pattern that we used for other games in the past. You know, we want to make sure that this is a game that you really enjoy, that represents Stargate at its best, and that's why we're doing all the work we're doing on. And although it seems to be like you know, a long process, it seems to be a long process for us as well. But whenever there's a build coming in, we look at it. We're very critical about stuff, right? So we want it to be
we
better
want it
all
to
the time.
be better. We want it to be at a high standard that I think the community deserves. So we are being picky a little bit, but I think it could be the good process, the right process.
So what is going to be happening in the next couple of hours? After this, we're going to start a new sort of section of Slitherine Next. We're going to show gameplay of future games. What you've seen so far has been updates on Warhammer Gladius and Battle Sector. You've seen Starship Troopers. There's been updates on Distant Worlds. So you're going to see new games, so stuff that's going to come later. So the first one you'll see is Headquarters World War II.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. And again, we have a member of staff. I don't know if you've actually seen Julia before, but Julia is going to introduce it to this section with Mark from connecting from EPSO. And then we'll show you Ancient Arenas and what else do we have? Broken Arrow.
We've got Broken Arrow.
And,
Broken Arrow that definitely the audience is waiting for it.
If I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
Right. And Field of Glory Kingdoms as well. So there's quite a lot of stuff still. So stay with us. So in the next 2 hours, you're going to have a lot of entertainment.
We are back in the studio. Hello everyone, and we are now connecting with Mark Hardesty from Epsom. He's actually Slitherine senior producer. Hello Mark, can you hear me?
Hello Julia, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hi Mark.
You have a tree?
Yeah. Yes, it's a beautiful Christmas tree, Mark. I'm missing you, Mark. I have to tell that.
I should be there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm in the airport.
Yeah, I know. And we are also connected with Alexander Sienin. Hello, Alexander, can you hear me?
Hello, hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hello, Alexander. Alexander is a COO and lead game designer for Headquarters World War II from the developer Starny Games. Speaking of which, we have a little surprise for you all. And maybe not, maybe yes, but yes, here it is.
Мене звати Віктор Тимошенко, я очолюю компанію Австро-Венгрія.
Hello, I'm Alexander Senin from Slitherine Games. I'm a lead game designer for Headquarters World War II.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm a two-dimensional artist in Slitherine.
Мене звати Шевчук Олександр, і я займаю посаду Lead Level Designer.
Hello there, my name is Max, and I'm the lead narrative designer at Starny Games.
Всім привіт, я Олександр, я лід 3D-артист Slitherine Next. Я вважаю, що праця зі Слізерином це дуже добре відображається на нашій компанії та нашій команді, і що ми зробимо дуже хороший продукт.
I'm really happy to work in the video games industry. I'm sure that was probably one of the best decisions in my life when I started working here.
I'm very inspired by the fact that our company is focused on the quality of our projects, and it's very important to me.
Працювати в індустрії відеоігор для мене це якби і мрія, яка втілилась, задоволення, натхнення, бажання жити і працювати.
To me, working in the video game industry is about creating stories that a player can inhabit rather than just read or listen to.
Це моя мрія, завжди хотів працювати над розробкою.
I'm in charge of all the game design documentation on the project and also helping managing the team and making sure everyone knows what to do and when to do.
Basic tasks for 3D artists in Slitherine are all two-dimensional segments of headquarters. For example, I mean UI, portraits, icons, and so on.
Зазвичай, коли я їду на роботу, в мене немає натхнення працювати, але тільки заходжу в офіс і бачу, як тут кипить яку вулику. Можна сказати, буквально за декілька секунд ти опиняєшся в цьому вирі робочого процесу і натхнення приходить само собою.
In historical strategy games, narrative allows for the dramatization of the historical events, which is not necessarily coming up with something fictional, but finding what's exciting about the historical events and bringing it to the forefront.
So everyone here wants to make the headquarters World War II better and better.
And here we are again. So I hope that gave you an insight of the huge team that is currently working on a headquarters World War II. And Mark, can you give us a little bit of an update about the development status of headquarters?
Yeah, sure. When the team are in the final stages of development of headquarters, which is a really exciting time in the game's creation. We're now able to play through all the various single-player missions, actually getting some multiplayer action, skirmish action going really, really good. It's really coming together. We've had the art pass. It's looking really sort of final game. It's really coming together. It's a really beautiful game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alexander, we want to know more about the game. So can you give us a bit of context? Where is it set? Why the name Headquarters?
Sure. So Headquarters World War II is a tactical level turn-based strategy game, and that means that you can expect a realistic scale and that your unit's positioning matters a lot, and it's focused a lot on tactics. It's set during the Normandy landings, and we have three plot-driven campaign, the British one, the American, and the German. And it also has a very flexible multiplayer for up to 4 players. So I hope you will enjoy playing it.
We'll see a little bit later what you're talking about, but I think that we can start from the single-player campaign. So we can see the video of the single-player campaign. And Mark and Alexander, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, so what we're seeing here is the first mission in the German campaign. You're playing as the Germans, of course. The Allies have established a foothold in this small coastal town, and your task is to help the German garrison to hold down the town during D-Day. All the missions have a narrative that follows different characters, with you playing from the point of view of an officer on the battlefield. The footage we have at the moment that's just starting, it's the player starting to position his troops on the map, and as you can see sort of top left, there's primary objectives is to capture 3 key points in the town. So that there are primary and secondary objectives within each mission, and more objectives sort of tend to appear as the mission progresses. Alexander?
Yeah, so here you can see like the Allies who are landed fighting with Allied German troops that you are going to help defend the town, and as you can see, there is some building collapsing, so I just wanted to bring up one of the key elements of the game, that is the destructible environment. So in the game there are a lot of environmental objects such as buildings, some fences, like I don't know, tree lines, yards, high vegetation and so on. So all of that affects the gameplay, but a lot of that could also be destroyed by being bombarded either by the player or by his opponents. And basically the player has to adjust quickly to the changing situation on the battlefield. For example, if a house that your troops were positioned in has collapsed, you probably have to look for a better position and so on. So you really have to like follow what's happening and think in advance of what would you do if the position collapses and you have to switch it and so on. So here you can see some machine gun action. And as you can see, the infantry in the open is like really vulnerable, but there are some guys hiding behind the truck, so they have better protection, and now they will retaliate with some anti-tank rocket launchers. And you can see the building being damaged. Also, flamethrower units are really effective in close combat, but they better dealt with from afar.
So I guess another important part of the game, especially in the single player, is the unit management, the headquarters section of the game. So between missions, the player, you can sort of choose which units get special abilities to level up, new abilities. You can assign heroes to certain vehicles, and there are headquarters skills that you can sort of invest in and sort of unlock new ones as well. And you do carry an army through from mission to mission as well, so it's a nice replay.
Yeah, but we also made sure that this has like no snowball effect, so in this game it's okay to lose units, and like you're expected to lose some units because it's like really heavy like tactical battles. And here you can see some tank on tank action with like so there are like different types of hits possible, like depending on how your troops are positioned, etc. So you can see the combat log in the top right corner. And it's really important, especially with armored vehicles, to try to outflank or even attack from the rear, because historically tanks had thickest armor at the front and the weakest usually at the rear. So trying to outflank or get behind the enemy tanks make your attacks much more efficient. So for example here the tank in the back would have a better odds at shooting the enemy. But yeah, so there are actually a lot of factors to take into account. That's why we've added this like combat log feature, and you can also see the extended version for all the details. But it's also really easy to jump into the game, so it's like I would say it's easy to start playing the game, but there is really a lot of depth to it once you figure out the basics. So I would say it should be interesting to both like experienced veteran players and newcomers to genre. So I hope you'll give it a chance. And here you can see the enemy infantry hiding in the high vegetation, so it offers decent protection to the infantry hiding there, so it's quite difficult to take down. And here you can see with return fire they kill a couple of crew members in the scout car, so it's one of the another key mechanics is the crew mechanics. So each unit has up to 5 crew members, and basically when like any of the crew members is lost, the specific penalty is applied to that unit. So for example, if your vehicle lost the driver, you lose a large portion of your movement points. If you've lost loader, you have less attacks. If you've lost gunner, you have less accuracy, and so on. So it's really important to understand, like, and we wanted to highlight that, you know, each crew member is really important, and, you know, unit functions only as long as there is crew. And here you can see the enemy tanks like taken out our tanks, and the anti-tank infantry crew runs in to try and save the day. And manages to do it successfully. So we've dealt with the enemy armor and now should have easier time defending this town from the Allied advance, but as you know, historically, inevitably, Germans had to do that.
Thank you very much, Alexander and Mark. And that's not all for today about headquarters, because as Alexander was anticipating before, we are also going to see some footage from a multiplayer match. I think this is the first time that we reveal footage from the multiplayer. So, Mark, can you tell us a little bit more about that? What are the core gameplay mechanics of the multiplayer?
Yeah, sure. So the game comes with up to 4-player multiplayer. It's possible to play either through our PBM system, sort of our turn-based system, which can take many hours and days, but the team have also put together a live turn-based system as well. So you can play the game within an hour and everybody will play their turn one after another. I believe we're going to show footage from a live 4-player game. We have edited it down because I think the game was over an hour. I think Mark would probably kill us.
Maybe someone else too?
Yes, yes. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we already saw a little bit of the video, but it's now time to see the multiplayer match. And Alexander, since you were one of the player of the multiplayer match, can you walk us through? We will not say if you won the match or not. We will find it out at the end of the video, but please, can you walk us through the match?
Sure. So here you can see one of the players setting up the game, so choosing the map, selecting how many players will there be, whether this is like human players or AI, what teams they are in. So here everyone is for himself, it's like free-for-all match. And here you can see like 4 victory conditions, different like turns limit, starting prestige, prestige income, also like you could set up the higher starting level for units, enable heroes and so on. So there are really lots of settings for you to play with. And here we're already in the match. So here is one of the players deploying his units. So you get some starting prestige and you can acquire any units and deploy them. And that would usually be your first turn. So here you can see a couple of other players who already deployed their starting troops. But that's not the end of it. So as the game progresses, you gain more prestige and you can deploy more troops at any time. So here you can see my APC bringing infantry to capture this neutral flag, and this allows me to get some extra prestige income. So it's really important, as in many games of course, to control the flags. And here they bring you not only one of the victory conditions, which is like whoever controls the most flag longer wins, but also they bring you extra prestige every turn. So it's really critical to control as many flags as possible, so you can deploy more troops and reinforce your position. So here we can see some of the skirmishes around one of the flags already starting. So, you know, the battle for control is ongoing now. So here you can see the red line is showing line of fire, so you can toggle it on and off. And here you could also see how it's affected by the terrain and by all the buildings and tree lines and everything. And you will also be able to see it change as the unit will start to move right now. So you can see that it's like taking into account all the terrain and everything. And
so
here you can see...
Alexander, Alexander, so there's a number of sort of visual layers you can sort of switch on and off depending how you want to play. Sort of, there is fog of war, there is this sort of line of sight. You can have the grid on and off depending on how much detail you want and information you want.
Yeah, exactly. And here you can see like one of the players deploying in the middle of the game and capturing some extra flags. And as Mark just pointed out as well, yeah, you can, like here you can see the grid, but here you can see no grid and so on. So each player can adjust it and toggle it on and off as needed. So same with combat log, whether you want extended version or a short version, or like whether you need grid, line of fire, fog of war. So yeah, it's really flexible in that regard. And here you can see some of the mortars in action, attacking the enemy gun that was trying to ambush the Tiger tank before. So yeah, also you can also like zoom in and yeah, there are like yeah, so
when you're sort of saying zoom in, the camera control, you know, seems it's fairly easy to use. There is on the mouse scroll you can zoom in and zoom out with a little bit of extra sort of free camera move on top of that. So if you want to play from top down, you can do, but you can also sort of get in close and dirty to see things in more detail.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to make it like really flexible and really to suit like different pace and different situations in the game. So sometimes we want to zoom in more to see the units in detail or some battle going on. Normally you would probably play from some mid zoom, and then you can also zoom out and see a full top-down like tactical view to, you know, better grasp the battlefield and plan your actions in advance. So here we can also see some skirmishes going on, and here you can see that this car with machine gun cannot penetrate the front armor of more armored car, because you know, even if you land a perfect hit, that doesn't mean it would penetrate the enemy armor. That's why it's really important to have the right gun and, you know, the right angle to attack, and so there the attack was deflected. Here you could have seen the scout unit deploying a smoke screen to basically hide his vehicle and give it extra protection as it was damaged, to try and save it from potential enemy attack. And yeah, so here
Alexander, the two icons to the right hand side, the guy with the bugle and the saluting soldier, what exactly are those?
Yeah, so those are the HP skills that you can see in the game, and yeah, so basically these two are, one is restoring units morale and another one for restoring its crew, and basically you can use those on any of your units on the map, but then it will be on cooldown for a few turns. So it represents like you as a commanding officer and some of the options that you have, but you have to be strategic about using them, because once you've used one of these, they are available for a couple of turns, and that means that maybe you should have saved it for a more important unit on a different flank that you wanted to, or like, so maybe now is not the moment to use it, or maybe now it is. So that's really up to you to decide, and there will be more abilities, and in campaigns they usually depend on the scenario, but in multiplayer, like, you can set up whether to have this or on or off. And here you can see the battle for the central flag, so it's like the most contested point on the map probably, because all 4 players have access there. So now you see that one player has already captured it, but now the other one attacks with mortars to sort of weaken the unit there, and after bombarding it with mortar and killing some crew and lowering the unit's morale, it uses the scout unit with assault military tank, and as you can see, like frontal attacks don't work really well against that armor. Here I would also want to highlight this building because we can like follow the different stages of its like being undamaged. Now it's sort of damaged, and if it's further attacked, it would collapse at some point. So as I've said, all the buildings in the game are destructible, and you can do that in the match. And they also offer less protection when they are destroyed, so it's a good idea to collapse some of the buildings the enemy troops are occupying their positions.
Yeah, Alexander, you were saying that you can when you said a multiplayer skirmish map, you sort of have various options sort of switched on and off. You want to just sort of touch on a couple of those? I know there's the headquarters. There's other things in there to sort of set up your multiplayer game.
Sure. So first of all, like you can either play it as a skirmish, so without other players, like just against the AI, but you could also play all the like skirmish maps against other player opponents, and it's really flexible. So you have 4 victory conditions. Those are focused on capturing other players' starting bases, basically HQs. Then on controlling the flags for the most of the time. So like for controlling flags, you gain victory points, and the first player to reach a certain amount wins. Then there is also defeating all the enemy troops, and also if you reach the turn limit without fulfilling any of the other victory conditions, then the total worth of the enemy units killed by each player is counted, and whoever has the highest score wins. So it's really important, like not only how many units you eliminate, but also how expensive are these units. So here you can see the tank maneuvering with backwards movement and also rotating like to certain directions. So it's really important to use that, like to retreat with your frontal armor facing the enemy, and it's also important to utilize this like both backward movement and rotation to keep your units oriented properly and to minimize the damage that the enemy could deal to you during his turn or with an overwatch attack. So this really helped to bring to life these tactical aspects of the game. And as you can see, like here, the unit was like unknown, but now we can see it because we moved closer. So this is all like calculations based on. So some units you cannot see at all if they're like behind the building or behind a forest or a tree line. But then there are also 3 levels. So like you either don't see unit or you see it as some unit, but you don't know the particular model. You know whether it's a gun, a tank, or an infantry, let's say, but no details on that. And then when you fully spotted that, you know like all the information about the enemy. So if you sometimes saw some red units, those are just not fully discovered.
With the variety that you have, sort of setting up these kind of multiplayer mission skirmishes, I think one of the key things that I've been enjoying is one of the reasons why it looks so gorgeous is you've got quite a powerful map editor that I believe is going to be released with the game as well. I know I've had a play on it already. So I think from a multiplayer point of view, being able to kind of create your own villages and your own sort of landscapes is quite a big part of this. Being able to kind of create beautiful environments and placing down your pigs and your cows and your chickens where you want as well.
Yeah, sure. It's really a big part of the game for us, and we're really looking forward to seeing what the players community can come up with all its creativity and potential for creating great maps to play. And also, if you feel that you could make a better map, it's always better to do the map you want and play it with your friends. yeah, we are working on the editor tool, and so that you can make a map and then play it as a skirmish for multiplayer map with other people as well. So yeah, editor is a big part of the project, right? And here you can see that the tank missed twice because the enemy unit was behind the tree line, so it was a tough target to pinpoint. And here you can see that the tanks are getting closer to one of the start bases, so the combat is heating up.
So who do you think is actually going to win this game then?
Well, that's not a fair question because but yeah, here you can see the tank destroyed, and I think that's about the end of this short version of this game. The game, of course, is significantly longer.
No, Alexander, you didn't win.
Our lead level designer, yeah. So good job on this one, but I'll win another time. So.
Yeah.
I see you won. You won in the units lost, Alexander.
Yeah, that's where I'm very sure.
Yes.
We will see another match of the multiplayer one or another time, and I'm pretty sure that you are gonna win that match. So before going to the next game, we want to share some important news about headquarters, but Mark, I will leave you the pleasure to tell that to our community.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to say we have literally just opened up the sign-ups for headquarters beta phase. So if you head over to the Slitherine website and sign up, you'll be blowing up buildings and tanks and flaming infantry in a few days. So yeah, check that out. Go and sign up. You can have a play.
Website and sign up to headquarters beta. And also, Mark, can we also say that we are going to release this game next year? Can we say that?
I bloody well hope so. Yes. It'll be kind of early next year.
Yeah. People are asking, so we want to reassure the community that yes, we are going to release next year. So
it's very playable at the moment.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, you can sign up to the beta, of course. And I think that our time is coming to an end. So before going to the next game, I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Alexander, for being with us from remote, of course. And so I want to say goodbye. And we are going to see in a few seconds another big game with Alberto, and it's Field of Glory Kingdoms. Bye.
So, as Julia said, Field of Glory Kingdoms time. Field of Glory Kingdoms, for all those who don't know about it, is a 4X grand strategy game set in the medieval era. It's a sequel to Field of Glory Empires, and just like Field of Glory Empires, it's a WeGo game, which means simultaneous turn-based. We're about to connect with Neil McKenna, who is the producer for the game from Epsom. So let's see if we can talk with him. Well, I believe that they need a few more seconds in order to just make the switch. You know, unfortunately, Neil was supposed to come here, as Marco said before. But yeah, snow got in the way. Yeah, it happens. All right, so I think we are now live with Neil. So, hello, Neil.
Hello, Alberto.
How do you do?
I can see myself on screen. Hello.
That's a positive thing. So, how are you, Neil?
I am okay. I'm disappointed not to be there. I'm really looking forward to coming to Milan. I had, I think, more to do than any of the other producers. I should be not only talking about this, but about Chariots and Broken Arrow as well. So really disappointed to see how Tom Hopkins very big date in my diary, but here I am, so we will make the best of it.
Yeah, you know, we are very bummed down as well, but yeah, as you say, let's make the best out of it. So, can you give us a rundown of the game and, you know, how things are going with it?
Well, just as I was plugging in my headphones, I heard you saying, giving a very brief introduction to Kingdoms. So, Field of Glory Kingdoms is the follow-up to Field of Glory Empires, which released, I don't know, about 4 years ago, before I was here, certainly. A grand strategy game that was set in ancient times. Our game here, Kingdoms, is set at what you might call the birth of the medieval era. The game starts in 1054, right after the great schism between Western and Eastern Christianity, splitting between Catholic and Orthodox faith, an event which is still having repercussions today, you could say. There's a lot of finely poised campaigns going on at the moment. There's tension between Normandy and most of its neighbours. The Reconquista is shaping up in Spain. The Byzantine Empire is trying to fight off the Seljuk Turks. So there's a lot of finely poised power balances at the start of our game. As you were saying, we are a turn-based WeGo strategy game. WeGo is not something we do so much of, but our WeGo games, up to 16 players can play simultaneously in multiplayer. As the map is showing here at the moment, we cover all of Europe, into the Middle Eastern countries, and North Africa as well. In comparison to Empires, we have more major nations this time. I think we have about 10 major nations, and the major nations this time, gameplay differs a lot more than it did in Empires. So the major nations, off the top of my head, England, Norway, France, the Rus, and so on. They all have very different gameplay styles. Venice too, that's a unique gameplay style. There's a lot of historical fidelity in the game. We placed a premium on historical accuracy. I'm sure people would point out plenty of errors in the chat. But it's also worth noting that history here is not destiny. Normandy is not fated to conquer England, whatever happens. Byzantine Empire is not fated to lose all of its lands. Good players will be able to achieve whatever result they intend to achieve.
Great. You know, I'm really happy to hear about this starting date because it's a very interesting period in medieval history. It's curious that you mentioned Norway because, you know, had things turned differently in 1066, maybe the King of Norway would have won the throne of England instead of William the Conqueror. All right, so...
Well, indeed, yes, and that's...
Yes. So that's one of the major turning points that history can shape up in different ways throughout the game. All right, so my first question, you know, in Forex games or grand strategy games in general, you tend to have this paint the map gameplay in which a faction starts to expand and then steamrolls and then just gets so big it basically doesn't have any real opponent anymore. So Field of Glory Empires had a specific system to address that. I'm just wondering if you can expand on it and if you can expand on how Field of Glory Kingdoms tackle the topic.
If I was doing sort of a proper marketing presentation, I'd probably also mention that with Kingdoms we're trying to take everything that was well received about Empires and build on that. We're not throwing all those things away and taking a new game. I think that one of the things that people liked most about Empires was the culturally decadence mechanisms whereby no nation could ever get easily or could never easily get too powerful. There were always breaks on your ability to just roll over your neighbours. More lands to control always brought more problems with you. They placed stress on your administration and empire, and that seemed to land very well with players. So we've built on that system for the new game.
All right, sounds good. But you know, how do you prevent this mechanic to be frustrating for a player? I mean, you want to reward a player for being successful, you don't want to punish him too hard?
Oh, absolutely, and we're not preventing people doing that. Good players will still be able to turn the map whatever colour they want to turn the map. If people were able to do that in Empires, and they will be able to do it here as well. But authority is what we're calling the mechanism this time. It's, I think, probably more of an integral part of the game than it was last time. There will be the tension between your authority, your ability to control your lands, versus the amount of territory you control, because you will need to control territory in order to evolve your government up to the next size. In order to reach the correct size, to grow your government and grow a more powerful empire, you are essentially going to have to grow out of your comfort zone. So there's always going to be a difficulty between seizing the requisite amount of land and being able to control what you grab.
But just let me get this right. In order to grow from one step of government to the next, you need to expand your country, right? But what if you're playing as a country which historically was very powerful but didn't expand much? I'm talking, for instance, of the sea republics of Genoa or Venice or other examples in medieval history. How does it work then? Does the game portray that?
Well, good point indeed. We first announced the game in Venice, didn't we? Venice had some land overseas, parts of Croatia and so on, but not an awful lot. Genoa, I think, was very localized, but also a very powerful republic, and indeed two republics fought for supremacy in and around the Mediterranean for many, many years. Republics evolve differently, so maritime republics will not have to grab large amounts of land to expand. Their drivers to expand will be much more fortunate.
Basically, it's a type of
governments to evolve.
So basically, it's a type of government that allows you to build tall and play vertically. That sounds very interesting.
Absolutely, yes, yes. As I say, we placed a premium on historical accuracy, so it would seem somewhat bizarre for Venice to take control of what is nowadays Italy. In kingdoms, we have something like 100 forms of government overall. We have a huge different government styles. So many nations, groups of nations, have perks depending on their government styles. We'll touch on that a bit later on, but we'll have Byzantine polymonarchs, French chivalry, Russian Kremlin, so on and so forth. So, it would be very hard for some countries to expand. For others, it would be essential for them to keep going.
Great. You know, the medieval era was famous for feudalism. So I'm just wondering, how does the game handle vassals?
Yeah, vassals are a new feature that we're bringing in here, and they are an essential part of gameplay. I mentioned that the tension between the size of your domain and your authority across it is perhaps the central mechanism of the game. Vassals, I could probably spend half an hour sitting here talking about how it does work, but to oversimplify it, vassals allow you to control more territory than your authority would allow. So you can create a vassal and count towards your domain size, allow you to involve your government without stretching your authority. You can also, there are some neat things you can do. You can take control of vassals' armies, for example, with them on enough.
Right, very interesting. You know, there was another aspect of the medieval era which should be prevalent in a strategy game set in the Middle Ages. I'm talking, of course, of dynasties and dynastic policies. So I believe we have another video to show you. But yeah, I want to ask you, how does the game handle dynasties?
So dynasty again is a very it's a new part of the game. The grand campaign is 220 turns, each turn being a year long. So you're not playing as one character trying to seize control. You're playing as an empire, and as an empire, you're going to need a strong dynasty. A strong dynasty currency by which the success of your empire will be judged dynasty is essential to that. I can see we're showing the screen here that shows our dynasty screen. We have sons and we have wives, first of all, rather than children. We have wives and courtesans. I'm sure there are any courtesans on screen there for my King of France. Medieval times were even less enlightened than the times we live in today. And women exist in order to produce heirs. And we have sons and daughters too. Daughters, I'm afraid, it is their lot to be married off to other nobles to improve relations with other nations. Whereas sons form part of your lineage, they can succeed you. As I say, a strong, assured dynasty will increase the value of your legacy, which from the final record will be very, very important.
You know, compared to feudal empires, I see that the characters now have some attributes.
Yes, we touched on that in Empires, I think, but it's a much more defined part of the game now. So all rulers will have administrative attributes, military attributes, and piety attributes. We'll come to religion on its own later on. It's one of the big pillars of the game, but each is very important for gameplay. Each is as important as the other. Administration and military, I think, are fairly self-explanatory. They allow you to run your empire more efficiently, make more money. Military allows you to recruit more units, cheap costs, and so on and so forth. So the ability of your ruler is definitely part of the factor of success, to the ability to create a dynasty.
So just want to clarify one thing, because some of you might be wondering about it. In feudal kingdoms, you play as a country, you don't play as the dynasty. So this is a grand strategy game, it's not a role-playing game, although there are a few role-playing features. But yeah, you do play as a country, and in the case of what happens if you change your dynasty, if your heir gets assassinated, or if another dynasty takes over, what happens then?
Yes, well, the intrigue is indeed part of that. There are many, you have your wife, your courtesans, your sons and daughters, but you also have brothers and daughters as well, eccentric. They can succeed you, they can be nobles to pass your lineage. You can name them to specific posts. One of our new features, for example, is that we can create what we call the peer of the realm, when you can group a number of regions into a province, and by putting a peer in charge of that, that brings you various perks and bonuses as well. These people will have their own abilities, their own marketing, treasury, so on and so forth.
So basically, you're saying that the character system doesn't only revolve around, immediate dynasties and your heirs, but it's a lot deeper than that. There are other types of characters.
Absolutely, yes. It's as we say, we're not making an RPG here, but yes, you have brothers, uncles. You even have nobles who are not related to you, powerful, and you need to keep an eye on them overall as well. All of these people will have their own ambitions, their own financial incentives, so on and so forth. So you'll know something about their loyalty, but not always everything.
Some personal treasures for these characters. So what can they use this treasury for?
Well, I suppose the main thing you can use it for, they can be somewhat dishonest with treasury. They can divert it towards funding their own armies as well, which a disloyal peer or disloyal vassal ruler with his own army can obviously be quite a threat as well. Equally, a loyal, happy peer or noble with a strong army could be a very realistic candidate to succeed you when the time comes. You may not have any sons, for example, or brothers, or you may have a weak son, 2 weak sons, brothers. So Managing the succession is an important part of managing the dynasty, and therefore managing the legacy, which is the measure of success.
Right, sounds great. This character system is very interesting. So basically, what happens is that you need to watch over your shoulder for these loyal vassals and dynasties. You can topple your ruling dynasty, which means yes, you keep playing, but you know your country can get very weakened by this internal struggle. Right. So there's another gameplay mechanic that I want to mention. It represents a specific aspect of medieval era. I'm talking, of course, of religion. So, religion. How does the game handle religion, and how is it portrayed in Medieval Kingdoms?
Well, religion was obviously a huge part of everyday life in the medieval era, and it would not make sense to avoid that. We have 5 major religions. We have 5 main branches of the Abrahamic religion. So we have, as I've already mentioned, Eastern and Western Christianity. We have Sunni and Shia Islam, and we have Judaism as well. We also have, for added flavour, there's heretics who can spring up anywhere, including in their own territories, and there are various pagan nations as well. This isn't just, it's a fundamental part of the game. It's not just something to show. Each population in kingdoms is defined by its cultural group and its religion, which is a very important thing if you are seeking to conquer new territories. Religion is just yet another source of friction between you and your neighbours as well. So, religions running up against each other is an important part of that.
So depending on your neighbors' religions compared to your own, it can mean that basically you can have a target painted on your back, right?
Yes, but in medieval times in particular, with a few obvious exceptions, religions aren't generally rubbing up against each other cheek by jowl. If you're playing as England or Venice, then you're not going to be fighting against Orthodox Christians, let alone against Muslims. So unless you're playing really in Spain, you're likely to be up against nations of the same religion. Declaring war against them will cost you authority, and one of the big new factors that we have here, given that we're depicting religion, we have holy wars and the papacy are factors in the game.
Play a specific role in the religious game in the Medieval Kingdoms.
Sorry?
Does the Pope play a specific role in the religious game?
Oh yes, the Pope is, as again you would expect at the time, the Pope's power is extraordinary. The papacy can, for example, declare a crusade and come to holy wars shortly. Pope can also excommunicate a nation. The favour of the papacy is hard to win, but very powerful. For example, if you are one of our new colleagues in Poland and you want to declare war against Lithuania, then trying to lean on the papacy to look less favourably on Lithuania will strengthen your hand. But each region, each nation has a piety guard. You can't simply tell the Pope that Lithuania, in this example, are a bunch of heathens and you should go to war against them.
What can you tell us about crusades in Medieval Kingdoms?
So crusade, it's a bit wider than that. In fact, we have a system for holy wars. So Christianity can crusade, Islam can declare jihad as well. You can see an example of that later. This can happen spontaneously, for example, if there's a large imbalance of power between the two faiths. I think we've, excuse me, I think we've seen the religion screen, which shows the balance between Christianity and Islam. We have 5 holy cities in the game. So we have Jerusalem, which then is now being fought over by everyone. We have Medina and Mecca, Islam, and we have Constantinople and Rome for Christianity. When a holy war triggers, it's a bit like a mini world. Two big groups of nations fight against each other, and conflict is going to expand and dragging in other nations until enough time has elapsed and people get sick of it, or until one of the holy cities changes hands. When a war erupts, there will be a lot of special game rules that activate. You'll be able to pass through any Christian nation in times of crusading, for example, as if you had passage rights. Equally, you might see either crusaders or mujahideen appearing spontaneously in neighbouring territories, in your own territory. They have their own agendas, of course, and we also have knightly orders.
Yes, I'm very curious about knightly orders actually. They were very influential in the era. I'm thinking, for instance, of the Templars. Everyone knows about them. So what can you tell us about knightly orders in the game?
Yes, I think one of the themes of the game is that everybody has their own motivations, whether they're your own potentially loyal or disloyal or knightly orders. Knightly orders are like power groups, almost like nations without that. They can implant over time in your own regions, and create commanderies there, which they're both a blessing and a curse in many ways. They will keep you safe in the front line of territory. They increase your piety. They will help put down heresies, but equally they will happily draw away all your resources from their own needs. They all have their own agendas. Once the job that they have come to do is done, they may or may not choose to leave your territory afterwards.
Aren't you worried that this type of feature could be a bit invasive towards gameplay and towards the player's agenda?
Well, I think it's a realistic part of life as it was then. They're not invincible. Certainly you can limit their power if it's going to cost you authority. You can even look to have them executed, as happened against the Knights Templar with Philippe le Bel in the early 14th century. But putting Knights Templar to death may displease the papacy. That is going to make life very hard. Talked about some of the powers of the papacy earlier. You may not be allowed to join a crusade, for example, if you have displeased the papacy. And simply being a crusader will lend you authority over time. So much of this game comes down to authority.
Before we move to the last major topic, I wanted to just ask you something really quickly. How can you raise your piety? What are the ways in which you can do that?
So one of the many new features we've barely touched on today is that we have new classes of citizens population this time. I think it's 6 or 7 classes versus only a couple that we had in Empire. One of those classes are clergymen this time around, so they can't really convert from or to anything else. So clergymen in your region will increase your piety, but the main way of doing it, other than pleasing the papacy, is to build religious buildings. It's obviously tend to be quite impressive things. We're talking simple wooden churches or mosques here. We're talking glorious buildings that will inspire awe and please religious leaders. Quelling heresies as well. Heresies, particularly where you have weak piety, need putting down quickly because they can spread like wildfire. And heretics may even kill your clergymen, so they can be doubly bad for them.
Thank you, Neil. All right, so there is one last major topic that I want to ask you about. There is a small scenario, custom scenario in the game, which is called El Cid. It obviously features the famous El Cid, the Spanish hero from the medieval era. So, Neil, what can you tell us about this scenario?
So one of the complaints I say we had with Empires last time around was we had the huge grand campaign, we had a tutorial scenario, and that was about it. Players wanted smaller campaigns that they wouldn't necessarily have to play for equivalent to 220 minutes. We have, I think, we have 2 campaign. We have 2 smaller scenarios, and then we have this sort of bite-sized scenario here. You see here El Cid in 1087. And you can see the entire map there of Iberia. But just because it's small, it doesn't mean that there is not challenge here. So this feels like a microcosm of the complexity of relationships and the value of alliance and religion in the game. This scenario, excuse me, as you can see, is set in 1087. So this is 1 year after the Battle of Sagrafos. The King of Castile, Alphonse, had had some success against the Taifas kingdoms in Spain. These are the European Muslims who ruled much of the peninsula in the time. The Taifas, in order to gain back their lands, looked to the south to what is now Morocco, called in the Almoravids to help them. And the Taifas declared a jihad. So this campaign is another illustration of a holy war. The Almoravids arrived, the Christian invaders were pushed back, and here our scenario begins.
If you play as the Taifas, won't it be a bit easy if you can just call your big brother, the Almoravids, to help you, and they just win the war for you?
Well, I do keep saying that it's not just your enemies that you have to look out for in this game, you have to look out for your friends as well. There was something of a division of values between the Taifas and the Almoravids. The Almoravids thought the Taifas were too soft, too Europeanized, without enough. So once they get there, they push back the Christian invaders, but then realizing how weak the Taifas are, or how big they are, they start taking their lands too.
All right, so this is a 3-way scenario. So you have the Taifas, the Almoravids, and Castile.
Yeah, we're looking at making 4-way scenario. In fact, at the moment. So yes, we have the Castilians, and we have the Taifas, and we have the Almoravids, but it's called the El Cid scenario. And we are looking to make El Cid playable as well. He plays not unlike a holy war himself. Something of a joker in the pack, I think. So he has his own, he has no lands, but he has his own goals, his own values, and so on. So there's a lot going on this small map, certainly.
It's very interesting to hear you compare El Cid to the Joker. But yeah, I'm just wondering, so each of these factions have their own unique traits, right, that really shape the differences between them. What else can you tell us about these differences and these traits that they can gain throughout the campaign?
Well, for example, the Spanish kingdoms, the Spanish Christian kingdoms, just to be clear, have 3 main traits at the start. So they have the Reconquista trait, which helps them conquer back the peninsula. They get a bonus in precious authority when they conquer new regions and build fueros, garrisons in these villages. They have lots of regional decisions at their disposal. A lot of the development work which has been going on over the last year has been on enhancing the regional decision system from what we had in Empires, where we had about, I think, 14 regional decisions. We're up to 50 plus now, so they're a much more important part of the game. The Spanish have many more regional decisions pertaining to the situation in which they find themselves in. And there's also a sort of cohesion bonus between the sort of various small Christian nations within Spain and Portugal, which allows the easy setup of Knights Templar and Spanish knightly orders. Another boon in the fight against the Muslim enemy. However, as we said, knightly orders can be almost as problematic as they can be helpful.
All right. Just one last question about this LCD scenario. So back to Typhus and LCD, are there any more specificities about these factions that you want to share with us? Any sort of unique aspect to them?
Well, LCD I think is interesting because he doesn't play like a normal faction. He roams the land like a holy order. He will have the goal, as he did in real life, of making Kingdom of Valencia his personal lands. So he has a few tools to make playing with him interesting, given that he has no lands. So he can recruit some units directly where he is, as he did. I mean, he's viewed as a national liberator hero in Spain nowadays, but he changed allegiance from Christian to Muslim in the past, and he can do that here, albeit at a cost of authority. And I think perhaps most interestingly for Sid, he can attack without a declaration of war and just go straight in. So most of the time in a turn-based game, you need to declare war in one turn, and then the state of war exists in the next turn, whereas El Cid can just turn like that and declare war and start fighting, albeit once again at a cost of authority. It's a excuse me, still getting over COVID. It's a difficult situation for the Typhus. A lot of the they're probably an easier choice in the Grand Campaign because they get a bonus in legacy points. They can build beautiful Alcazars, the fortified palaces they had. In the Grand Campaign, you can choose whether to pull in the Almoravids or not, and gain help from other Muslim nations. But if they do manage to unify Spain, then they create the Caliphate of Cordoba, which will give them a huge bonus to what they're creating. Which, within the realms of this scenario, I think it's going to be pretty difficult, but for a good player, it will be achievable.
Sounds good. Thank you, Neil. So before we wrap up this presentation, let me just ask you, is there anything else that you want to share with us today about Field of Glory Kingdoms and where we're at with development right now? What can we expect to see in the coming months?
Well, it's an interesting game because of the way we've gone about development. We showed it in Venice, which was, 7 months ago now. It was sort of a brief introduction to the game. We've been working very hard on it since then. A lot of artwork has gone into the game. You saw the Dynasty screens there, for example. A lot of art power has gone into those. A lot of work's gone into creating the regional decisions. We haven't shown an awful lot of games since, so it's been very quiet. But pleasingly, we're now at a point where we are almost ready for beta. So today we are opening beta sign-ups. And we expect the beta to be available within a few short weeks so that people will be able to play it in January.
That sounds great. So anyone who wants to hop in the beta, feel free to sign up. We are looking for testers. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing more of the game. Neil, I really want to thank you for taking part in this presentation. I'm really sorry that you couldn't be with us today, but there's always a time, and
me too.
Hopefully next time you will be able to get here. Just looking forward to it.
Thanks, Alberto.
Thank you, Neil. All right, so that's it for Field of Glory Kingdoms. We'll be back soon with more news about the game, so stay tuned. I just want to pass the ball back to Julia and the tea room, so we'll be back with more news very, very soon. Bye-bye.
And we are back here. Hello everybody, I hope you're enjoying our live streaming. I'm here with Edmund, that you saw before playing with Master of Magic. Hello Edmund.
Hello, everyone.
You must know
no
that
pressure.
no pressure, of course. You must know that while we were here talking about great games, Edmund was there to read your comments, to answer to some of your questions, and also to collect some pretty interesting things that we will talk about now. Questions and also funny comments about our live streaming. First of all, the first question or better say, the first thing that one of our community members wrote was that regarding Master of Magic, he still have his printed manual.
Yeah, so you best hold on to that because...
Yes, the 1944 one, of course. 1994 one, of course.
Yeah, it's probably still about 95% accurate. So he's got the Prima strategy guide. You can still use it. So who knew you would keep getting value out of that 25 years later?
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. Also wonderful that he kept this manual for so long. And actually, Master of Magic is as old as I am. So. Great. And
I'm not touching that one, folks.
Also, speaking about Slitherine team that we are before, one of our member of the community told that this music he's making, he wants to visit a dinosaur-themed park.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Slitherine theme tune, we spared no expense.
And then a question I can answer. They asked where they can buy Master of Magic, which would have been the price. Of course, you can buy Master of Magic and all the other games released today, Sister of Battle and Adepta Sororitas, on Steam and on our third-party store like GOG and so on. And so have a look on them to buy Master of Magic, and also on our website, of course. And you can also check for some interesting bundles. So have a look to Steam and our website to know more. And then another question, maybe Edmund can answer, that is about Warhammer. What improvements will come to planetary supremacy?
So we can't talk about what improvements are going to come just yet, but the development team, and they've also said this on our forums, they're going to make that a strong focus in the near future. So those of you who are holding out for more planetary supremacy action, it should be coming in the near future. So I hope you look forward to it.
Great, that's great. And then you also collect something one of our followers said about the Starship Troopers Terran Command. He wrote, sounds like a really good fun. Much love, Slitherine. Thank you. You made Starship Troopers franchise proud, in my opinion. That's something really huge. We are really happy about that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's they really focused on making the game fun. That was the thing, and it's a real love letter to the film. So it's great to hear those kind of comments, because that's what the developers really wanted to achieve. And so to hear those comments really powers them along as they continue to add and improve the game.
Yes, that's great. Great. Thank you, Ed. And thank you guys for following us. Keep following us and to follow us on our social media channels, on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you can find us. And now I will pass the ball to the main stage. So we will see you later. And bye-bye, Edmund.
Bye-bye.
Let's go with Ancient Arenas Chariots.
Now, I'm the biggest, the world biggest fan of Quadriga, so I'm super excited to be here with Patrick now.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
Patrick is running our studio over in Poland, in Warsaw, and so you're looking after Ancient Arenas and, of course, Stargate as well. Before we jump into the game, let me tell you a couple of things. Now, Ancient Arenas Chariots, of course, is a game that starts on the back of the success of Quadriga, and we've been working very hard to make it a very modern experience. And instead of just following on the original one, we're sort of try to bring it to the next level. And bringing it to the next level means that I think we've sort of noticed from the little intro trailer, that we're trying to make it fast-paced and super exciting. The chariot racing wasn't really boring, and somehow it wasn't a very strategic type of race. It was gritty, it was fierce, and it was super hard work for the Arigas. So what we've seen here is the main art of the game, and that we've just put together with our team in Ukraine. And we have, what we're trying to achieve here is trying to give it a modern feel, and also sort of take it to a NASCAR type of look and feel as well. Because that was the chariot racing at the time. It was very fierce and very hard and gritty as well. Lots of dead people, lots of injuries. It was a real sport, but it was not a sport that you would practice nowadays. Now, Patrick, what did you bring to us today?
So today I would like to show you footage of one of our game modes. It's called Quick Race. It's a game mode where we can set up everything from every kind of detail we want to do in the race. For example, we can choose the region where we're gonna race during this one particular race. It's a one-time race, and we can set up mostly everything. If we can see the footage.
Yeah, let's try and run the footage and see what you have brought to us.
Yes, so this is the main lobby of creating the quick race and for the start we choose one of 4 main regions. Regions differs between them with the pool of races that are available there. As we can see, races differs mostly in amount of lanes we have on the track. So here we're gonna choose Spain. It's one of my favorite regions because of unique visuals the Spain region has by itself. And I think we go in for the 4 lanes track. So that means we're gonna have 4 different chariots going one next to each other. We can set up how many laps we're gonna do during the race, because sometimes in the fierce sport, which horse racing, chariot racing was, surviving is a key part. Also, here we can set up if we want to have some obstacles on the track, because not always the track was in the pristine quality.
What is an obstacle on the track?
It can be everything, like a puddle of water, or maybe some kind of stones falling from the track itself, because they didn't usually take good care of it.
Okay.
So if we could pause a bit the video a little bit. We were picking as well if we want to play in the dynamic mode or a turn-based mode. In the turn-based mode, we play the game in the turns when at the end of the turn time stops, and in the dynamic mode the time never slows so badly, so we have to make a quick decision. So here we have footage of how we pick a chariot. There are a few different setups we can pick. And the differences between those setups are two major things. One of them is a set of skills that our Auriga has. Some of them are able to maybe crash into another chariot in the lane next to it. Others are able to whip the enemy horses to make them go faster. And some of them are able to be the fastest one driver on the track. So the other difference between them is the basic flat stats they have, how fast they will accelerate, how well they will brake, and how much damage will they actually do to the enemies while attacking them. So yeah, we decided to go with a setup that has that cool wolf pelt helmet. It's one of my favorites, so I decided, why not, I will go with it. This one particular Auriga cannot go too fast. He cannot double whip the horses to make them go faster, but he's really good at attacking the enemies, which I will use later on in the gameplay. So when we choose our Auriga, we also choose the AI players that will take part during the race, and we are ready to go. So on the track, we are starting this race from the lines. We can see who are our opponents right here. We can see what is their sigil, and this particular one outlined guy, here we are. And now I'm choosing the first order. It's we can see how far will I go by choosing this one or this one. Here I have a choice between the normal acceleration and whipping. Whipping is gonna take me more further and faster, but whipping your own horses may make them take damage, so I don't want that, and I will start with a regular acceleration. Here we can see that we have a dynamic camera. We can change angles of it. We can see everything from behind of our Auriga. I will have fun a little bit with it to show you that you can adjust it however you want to capture the best moments. So after this, I have to make the decision because the corner, the curve is coming to us, and I have to decide if I want to accelerate to go faster, or maybe this time I will decide to take a fight, because I cannot go left, I cannot go right, I cannot change the lane. So how about making it worse for my opponents? So I decided to whip my enemy, because the curve is close, and sometimes going too fast is not good for them. Oh, this time I slowed him down, because I can decide if I want to make him faster, to make him maybe roll over on the curve, or make him slower this time. Yes, and now we are going to one of the most important decisions in the game. How do I want to play it on the curve? Because, as I said before, going too fast may cause me to roll over. I don't want it, so I've decided to pick a control stance, which allows me to control my horses, because when I go too fast, my horses might slip to the track next to me. And here I am again, stuck between two enemies. What I'm gonna do? I decided this time to slow down the right one, because I'm faster than the chariot on my left. I eliminated the enemy on the right, and now I'm gonna do a little trick. I will try to block the enemy on the left. This way, he's not gonna, for sure, not gonna pass me in his next turn. But now I'm going really, really fast. What I'm gonna do, because I'm on the most inner lane of the track, it might be risky for me to go this fast on the track, but sometimes a little bit of luck is really needed. And I'm just taking a risky decision, because I know that looking at the minimap, I can see that most of the competition is behind me, but there are these two guys that can catch up to me, and I'm trying to take that risky decision. Okay, let's go full speed, most inner track, and I wish the best if I manage to survive it. And luckily, I did it. My chariot got a little bit damaged. I lost a little bit of my speed, but that was the risk I took in order to gain advantage over the enemies. Now, I tried to block my enemy again, but he was smart and decided to go to the track on the left. So my decisions are, he's going fast, I need to block him again. And this time, again, I managed to do this. He's whipping his horses, but because of me blocking him, he's not able to pass me. So yeah, I was trying to catch some cool views with our dynamic camera. It's one of the features I really like, because catching the cool moments is what we like in the racing, and why don't we do this in our way of racing with the chariots? So this guy really decides to pass me. So this time I need to take a risky moment again. And this is one of my favorite moments of this footage. We can see me going on the curve, really bouncing a little bit to the right, trying to hold on as much as I can. And with this move, I will ensure that I will be the first one. That's the two more straights, and the eternal glory is ours. Right now, I'm trying to, that's my favorite tactic actually, to block the enemy way so they won't be able to go past me, because he's going faster than me, because he picked up the setup that it's much faster than mine. So I have to use some tactics in order to block him, don't let him to pass me. He was forced to go outside, so it's really good for me, because going outside, most outside circle, makes him go a much longer way than it's gonna be with me. So once again, taking the curve this time is much safer, because this is not the most inner one. And the final straight for me, Eternal Glory, just in a 2 more moves, is ours. The public is cheering for us. We are whipping horses a little bit just to make it much, much faster. And victory!
Oh, yeah, that's really cool. Patrick, I will tell you one thing. It's really looking exciting, and I have to say, it's really cool to see the AI working against you. But you know, that is one question, and you know that's the most important one. What you're working on for multiplayer?
Yes, the multiplayer, we will have the multiplayer implemented. We will be able to race with our friends just as I raced with AI right now. We can set up everything we want, every detail of the race we want, and we can create our own, I don't know, league even. If we want to race with our friends, takes a note, everybody agrees to certain setups, and we can race with them.
All right, well, that's great. And how far are we from the end of the development cycle? Take a guess.
Take a guess. I believe in the next year, at the beginning, we will try to do some testing. So, yeah, in the next year, beginning of the next year, the game will be there to test it, and in the future, soon.
So beta testing coming soon for Ancient Arenas Chariots. It's a really exciting game, something that goes a little bit outside of the boundaries of our traditional games, but I'm really excited about it. So good luck also for Slitherine in Poland and all the new exciting adventures that you have ahead of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're going to have Broken Arrow coming next. So we're going from horse chariot racing to something a bit more modern and contemporary. I can see Felix waiting on the other side of the room. So without further ado, let's take a look at Broken Arrow.
Bye.
and welcome back with Broken Arrow. I'm here with a special guest, Félix Haber.
Hello.
So, many of you might remember when we showcased the Broken Arrow last year, we had an amazing response, such an amazing feedback. There is so much anticipation about the game. So, my first question, Félix, how is development going? So, what can we expect to see next, and where we're at with development?
Well, actually, it's going really well. We've made a lot of progress since last year. We have almost all our gameplay mechanics ready at the moment, and we have almost all the maps as well. We are now working on improving the UI, the user experience with the interface. The things that are left to do are to work on the improvement of the performance of the game, the multiplayer performance and stuff like this. This summer we have conducted a multiplayer playtest with our Patreon members, so they have been able to put their hands on the game for a bit more than a week. They have tested a basic multiplayer situation, and this was an important milestone for us because this was the first time people external to the studio had their hands on the game, and so
losing to a technical issue.
You're losing parts.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an important milestone for us because we wanted. Well, we had feedback from them, and the feedback was really positive. So this has reassured us that we were in the right direction. So we continue to work in this direction, and so that's where we are now. And finally, I think we can announce that everybody will be able to play a demo version of the game in the following months. So I'm not telling too much now. There will be more information coming early next year. So yeah, that's where we are. You're ready?
Yes, we finally fixed my microphone. Sorry guys, dangers of a live show. But yeah, we fixed this. You know, it's like game development sometimes. This happens. All right, so without further ado, what are we going to show today?
So first we are going to show a small trailer video about, this is the first video of a series of 8 videos we're making about deck specializations. So deck specializations, let's go back to what they are. One important part of the game is the army building part, where you select units that you will use during the battle, and the type of units, the roster of unit that will be available to you depends on the specializations that you have selected. So the first one is the US Marine Corps that we will present right now.
So let's watch it.